recording with a fellow photographer,
Yes.
Sean.
How you going, mate?
Yeah, good. Good.
I've wanted to do this for so long, but been so apprehensive.
We're here now. We are here now. Welcome to Melbourne.
Thank you.
I mean, you've been to Melbourne before, right?
No,
No.
no,
Holy shit.
no. I've been here for 5 weeks, and that's all. And I must admit, I'm loving the vibe of Melbourne.
Yeah. It's
I can't put my finger on what it is, but it's so different to say Perth or Sydney, where I live now.
yeah, it's so different to Sydney.
So much.
My observation is that it is just a little bit more well planned out.
Yeah,
And as a result of it being a little bit more well planned out, people are less rushing around.
that's true. Even in the heart of the city,
Yeah.
you know, I walk around the heart of the city, and people are just sort of meandering around, and it kind of reminds me of 30 years ago, Australia.
Mm.
You know, where people were not so hectic.
Mm.
Yeah, I really do like it.
And like Melbourne's very multicultural as well. So it's got like all the food. And then, of course, we've got the coffee culture.
Yes. I haven't got into that yet,
Oh,
but I certainly
don't
will.
start because you'll never stop.
I do like all the alfresco dining and stuff. In
Yeah.
the city centre, you go through all these little pathways
Yeah.
and there's food just everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Now you've come down because your corporate work,
Yep.
project managing a tunnel project.
Yeah, that's
or part
right.
of the tunnel
Yeah,
project.
so I've come down on the northeast link.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we seem to here in Melbourne have just way too many like construction projects. Like, how much more construction can we do?
I think it'll go on forever, mate.
I think it will.
You know, as society grows, you've got to grow infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
We always seem to lag behind on the infrastructure, but yeah, it'll be really, really good when all the Sydney infrastructure work's finished for say.
I mean, we're a lot more advanced to other places like Bali, for example, who have no infrastructure
Yes.
at all.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So photography wise, how are things going?
Yeah, going very well. Just did my first Melbourne shoot today
Nice. Lindsay.
with Lindsay. Yep. Thanks, Lindsay.
Shout out to Lindsay.
Yes.
I'm going to get you on this podcast when you're back.
Yeah.
I know that-
Enjoy America.
I know that interview was slightly awkward, Lindsay, but I'm gonna get you here and we're gonna do a podcast. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna prove you wrong.
I watched that. I had to giggle.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
She was
good.
cute.
Yeah.
She didn't know what to expect.
A bit like me, really.
And I was just like, hey, look, I still have no idea what I'm doing. I just like be me.
Yeah, yeah.
And it seems to
and
respond
I guess
with
that
people.
was, yeah, I guess that's why I was so apprehensive, because I didn't know, is there a format? Is there something that we specifically need to talk about or anything like that? But it's really, it's very easy to talk to you, you know?
Yeah, oh, thank you. Thank you. Look, I have often thought to myself, maybe I need some more structure. Maybe I should do some research. Maybe I should have like preparatory questions to send people. But then I think like part of, I guess, my whole thing is getting that reaction, that
Yes.
initial reaction.
Yeah.
And, I think it's funny. I don't care what anybody else thinks. I think my reaction is funny.
Yeah. I do too.
And that's all that matters, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And I think if you put those sort of boundaries on things, then people have a bit of a chance to come up with some answers to the questions that you're going to ask. But then when they get in the moment, they might be overthinking what they were going to say, and then you just think, oh, what was I supposed to say there? Rather than just be spontaneous like we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been shooting for?
Well, I guess it goes back a long way. I bought my first SLR, an old Pentax camera, back in '86, I think. Probably.
It would have been like that one that's up there.
Yes.
Yes.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Yes. And
That's my dad's.
yeah, okay.
The K.
It was
K1000.
K1000. Yeah. The great cameras too,
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
way. And of course, very different to what we do now.
Yeah.
You know, shoot and spray and.
Why did you decide that you wanted to buy a camera and try it out?
I don't know. We sort of studied a little bit in science,
Yeah.
and it was just, I really can't remember what got me into it per se. I guess my dad had a camera, and we'd do travel shots and all of those sorts of things, and then he'd turn them into slides, and you have to sit through a slideshow down at Grandma's house.
I've got my dad's slideshow machine and all of his slides, and my dad did that as well.
Yeah.
He's like he had a camera, and everywhere we went, we'll like take photos, and he had a tripod, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah,
is that where I got it from? I'm like, maybe
it could be.
because I saw him do it,
Yeah,
but fuck carrying a tripod around everywhere.
yeah, that's right. And don't forget that's because you can't even say, oh, well, I was taking snippets on my phone or anything because there wasn't any.
Yeah,
Mobile phones didn't exist. So I guess it was probably my dad and learning photography at school, I guess, is probably where it came from.
yeah.
And,
That's so cool.
Yeah. So, and then it just went on from there. And, there's been big breaks in between, you know, going to and from work, families, everything gets in the way and pressures of
Life.
money and life in general.
Goddamn fucking life. I'm trying to live the best life, and you just keep getting in the way.
I know, right? And now I'm sort of getting to the other end of the scale where, 10 more years and I'm done. You
What?
know?
No.
Yeah, retire, mate. Retire. And
That doesn't mean you're done.
well, not done as in box done. But
Shit.
yeah, but done with full-time work.
Right.
And then I'll progress over into doing more photography and supplementing it with maybe doing some consulting work or something like that in construction.
You should do consulting work now. That's where it's at.
I was doing it before this job, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I guess when I moved back from overseas, because I spent 12 years over in Russia working in oil and gas, and
Were you in Baku?
no,
Oh, okay.
that's
Sakhalin?
Sakhalin Island.
You were in Sakhalin Islands?
Yeah.
What years were you there?
2009.
Fuck me. Who were you working for?
ExxonMobil, Shell,
Right.
Chevron,
Yeah.
companies like that.
Did you ever come in contact with Schlumberger?
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, they do all the drilling and things like that out there.
Wyline and my dad worked for Schlumberger.
Oh, really?
He was probably in Sakhalin.
Oh, God. I knew I recognised your face, the resemblance.
Don't fucking say that. Look, sometimes I do catch myself in the mirror and I'm like, fuck, I look like my dad. No, I got to grow the hair back.
Oh, let's not talk about hair. I'm sensitive.
Don't you mean you're sensitive?
Yes.
Sakhalin, yeah, that would have been fucking cold.
Yeah, minus 50, minus 55.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different life.
When my dad was around and when he was working in like Baku and all of that, every now and then I'd get just random photo messages and I'm like, it's fucking cold, mate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got a photograph somewhere in one of the apartments that we were living in, and a friend of mine had washed his overalls and thought he'd put them on the balcony to dry. So he hung them up out on a line on the balcony, which is closed in. It's got double glazed windows on the outside.
Yeah.
But still, when he brought them in, we just stood them up against the wall. They were frozen solid in like an empty pair of overalls just stood in the room.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's freezing cold.
So photography was like something that you potentially picked up off your dad, and then you kind of did like on and off. When did you buy your first digital camera?
I bought my first digital Sony camera probably 10 years ago in Rome, of all places.
Right.
Yeah.
when you were on holiday.
Yeah, my wife and I did a holiday over to Rome, and we stayed there for 3 weeks, just walking the streets and everything. And I forget the camera that I had at the time. It was probably more my old Nokia flip phone that taking snapshots, you know. And yeah, walked past the Sony store and thought, you know what, I'll buy one.
I saw the video clip of the Kodak moment where a Kodak employee created the first digital camera. Do you know what year that was? I'm asking you because I know the answer.
Yeah. No, probably in the 70s, probably late 70s.
Yeah, it was 77.
Yeah.
And he pitched it to Kodak, and they were like, no, because they were making all their sales on film, and basically this product was going to annihilate the whole revenue stream.
Yeah.
And so that Kodak employee went to Sony.
Oh.
And Sony said, yes, we'll do it. And that started
That's the
the
beginning.
digital. Yeah.
Amazing, right?
Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
I bet the owners of Kodak kicked themselves in the ass.
Well, they went into administration. Oh God, this is really testing me. I think it was like 2007. They went into they filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, right.
You know, such a long time. Like, how the hell did they maintain themselves?
Yeah.
But yeah, it just goes to show that if you don't keep up with the times and the evolution of things and the innovation, you just get left behind.
100%.
You know,
and you know they've stayed in there and they're coming back now.
Are they?
Yeah. Starting to produce more and more film all the time.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about Kodak. Sorry, yes,
Kodak.
they are.
Yes.
They are, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, Polaroids and like all that type of stuff.
Can't believe Polaroids are back.
Polaroids are definitely back, and you know, you can pay a lot of money for a refurbished retro Polaroid camera.
Really?
Yeah, like over $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably, well, they never cost that much in the beginning.
Yeah, I know. It's like just this whole, I think it's this thing around, you know, things go in cycles, and like items in particular decades will end up circling around back, you know, and then there'll be a rebirth because of, you know, younger generation, you know, and stuff like that. And then, and it just kind of like happens like that. So I think we're at that age now.
Yeah, definitely. And even now, you know, my daughter wants one of these Insta something cameras.
Yeah, an Insta 360 or an Insta Stacks.
Yeah, something like that. So it does a Polaroid.
Yeah. I know that.
But it also keeps a digital image, so you can share it instantaneously with your friends.
Yeah,
but you also get that textile. You know, that bit of film in your hand. You know? And she's hanging out to get one of those.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So if you see this, Emma, maybe.
Emma, I'm vouching for you. Get a job.
Yeah, she's got a job. She does.
Save your money, Emma.
Yeah.
Buy that Sony instead, because your dad shoots in Sony, right?
I can't believe you said that.
I know.
I know.
Do you shoot in Sony?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, you gotta. The apple doesn't fall far from the cut. You're gonna make the same mistakes. So. I was gonna.
What was that text message you sent me the other day when we were talking about Sony and Canon, and you just sent me back one word, Canon. Nothing else, just Canon.
Yeah, look, it's just look, to be honest, I tell Emma what you need to do is you need to go to a shop and you just need to pick a camera up, and there are going to be some cameras that are going to be suited to you and some that aren't.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
The companies that make the cameras now, they're all the same. They're all the same.
They can all do exactly the same thing.
They can all do exactly the same thing.
Their color rendering might be slightly different, but really,
that
doesn't matter nowadays either, because what do we do when we get it into Lightroom or one of these other places?
Yeah.
Click a button and change it.
Yeah.
You know, you always have your own sort of color rendering of images.
Although I had Adam on an earlier podcast, and he described the color. What's it called? Fuck. Like the color palette for like Sony versus Canon as being like a Michael Bay movie versus Quentin Tarantino. And he admitted that Canon has smoother colors in photos,
Yes.
but Sony has better video.
Yeah.
And that's all kind of always been the case,
Yeah.
I think.
And look, Sony have been doing video for a long time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all the big, you know, professional cameras, like
Yeah.
film cameras, I suppose, video cameras, they're Sonys.
Are they Sony's?
Well, all the guys that I know use Sonys.
Okay, all right. I'll admit. My favorite movie from last year was The Creator, and that was shot on a Sony,
Yeah.
an FX3.
Was it really?
Yeah, the whole movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, not the same FX3. They had like multiple FX3s,
Yeah.
but it was an FX3. So you can literally go to a shop and buy a camera and make a movie out of it.
Wow. That's
Movie
amazing.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I can't justify switching brands now because I'm so heavily invested.
Of course. Yeah,
You know, like what is the point? Like
Yeah.
if I try to sell my lenses secondhand, like yeah, I'd probably get my money back, but like what is the point? You know, and then you have to go through this whole process of learning a new menu system.
Which Sony's menu systems? Sorry, Sony.
Shit.
Yeah, they're shit.
I remember because I
But
had
I'm
a
used to
Sony.
it now, right?
Yeah, because
And-
you trained your brain.
Yeah. So I can sort of flick through quite easily through.
Yeah,
the
you
menu
know where
system.
stuff is.
Yeah, shortcut it.
Mm.
The new system menu is pretty good.
Ah, they finally.
Yeah, it's similar to the one that you get in the Canon now, I guess. You know, you've got a main menu at the top of the menu, so you can click on that and it brings up touch things
Gotcha.
that you can now change, all your primary things that you want to change all the time,
Yeah.
just in that one step, and then just hit it, which is no revelation because Canon have been doing it for such a long time.
Yeah, I'll just get you to bring that mic a little bit closer to you. Yeah, that's it. Perfect.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right. Yeah. Look, I had a Sony, like a point and shoot. Oh, sorry. Yeah, point and shoot. I had a RX 100 Mark II, and I was always like, the fuck's going on with this menu system? Like,
Where is that again?
why is it so hard? Because you had like from a menu directory tree perspective, you just had so many like levels to
Yeah.
kind of like get through to things. On a Canon, there's only 2.
Yes.
That's it.
And when you talk to or watch Mark Gaylor, he'll you know, even he'll say, you know, maybe there should be somewhere that you can just take what you need out of the menu and turn off all the other stuff, and then look at it afterwards if you need it. Look,
Yeah.
you know, go into that other folder, and there's all that other stuff that you can add into another folder. And I guess they've sort of gone one way towards that now with that main menu bar.
Well, Canon's always had a favorites tab, 3 favorite tabs, so you
Yeah.
can, you know, have them all ready to go.
Yeah.
But the R5, that one, has I've customized every single button.
Yeah, right.
You know, I think you can do that with all the new Sonys now as well.
Yep.
But the reason I did that was because my idol photographer, Joaquin Carlson, who's married to the Julia, he put up a YouTube clip on how he customizes his buttons on his R5. And I was like, okay, looks like I need to buy an R5.
That works.
And just the logic around how he customizes it is just like the practicality of when you're in a shoot and just like like moving buttons or like not accidentally like knocking something, and
Yeah.
just makes sense to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Plus the fact that I think to myself, shit, I'm using his camera.
Mm.
I'm gonna shoot like him today.
Yeah, of course. All of my stuff's going to look just like his.
Who inspires you with your photography?
Well, I suppose in the last 5 to 6 years, I've been very heavily influenced by a Melbourne photographer, actually, Peter Colson.
Oh yeah.
I love his work. I go to his workshop sometimes,
Yeah.
and more to see him than anything.
Yeah.
But I really like his simplicity in what he does. The lighting. Use one box for lighting. Just keep it simple. Of course you can add in all your lights and do all of that complicated stuff, but I've worked quite hard to get my black and white imagery to a point where I
Are you
can
happy with it?
Yeah, I can get the very saturated blacks and almost pure whites in the image, instead of just getting that grey tone through your black and whites.
How did you do that?
Well, I go in and I use a few different filters in Photoshop. Go in and I can't remember off the top of my head all of the bits and pieces that you go into, but there's curve adjustment layers and you go into your
HSLs?
Yeah, not the HSLs. It's a good question, but I can't. I set the presets that long ago. I can't remember exactly what it is, but you're able to go in there and switch them to absolutes so that you can. You know what I mean? You go in there, and if you switch it to absolutes, it really takes it right to the whites and right to the blacks, and then you can just back it off from there and tweak it. So I think there's 4 different things that I use to get that look that I like. And of course, you've always got to tweak it anyway. You put that on and then you think, they're just way too saturated, or the peaking goes off and you've got to back off your whites a little bit because it's very fine line on those.
That sounds like, and I don't do this, but I'm just like thinking about it as you're talking. That sounds like before you take the shot, you need to adjust your white balance so that's accurate. So you do. Oh, shit, I'm eating my words now.
Yeah. So a lot of my shots I do in studio, obviously.
Yeah.
So I have a preset in my camera now that I shoot with a grey card in there sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Depending on what the model's wearing, you can change it a little bit.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I'll always have my camera in that custom white balance all the time because I know what my lights are and what all that sort of thing. So it keeps it very, very standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of editing in Photoshop?
Not a great deal. Depends. If I'm going for a very high contrasty light, then there's a little bit more retouching on the skin. Obviously, because you get a lot of texture showing up in those sorts of images.
I like texture though.
I do too, and I never take it all away.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the porcelain look.
Sorry,
Lindsay. Because I know Lindsay Adler's a very big fan of the porcelain look, right?
Is she? Oh, shit.
She loves it. And look, it's a beautiful look.
It is.
I do love it, but I don't do that myself.
Yeah. As I've gotten older, fuck, I sound like a fucking grandpa. As I've got more experienced, does that sound better or worse? In my journey of photography.
Yeah, there you go.
I have grown to love the natural look more.
Yeah.
And like bringing out leaving in the characteristics of the individual.
Yeah.
Because it's like who they are.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
And I think there's like with social media, people will go through phases where they're like, oh, they don't like this or they don't like that, and then they'll go through complete opposite where they're like, yeah, just leave it, just leave it, just leave it, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I guess I forget who said it, but find the beauty in the imperfections, you know. So if you leave those imperfections in there, and like you say, that's who those people are, you know, and I really do like that as well. And that's again something with Peter Coulson, you know, he doesn't overly retouch his images either, you know. He'd rather spend an extra half an hour getting the light right to make it look good.
That's a sign of a real professional. Do everything that you can before you click that button.
Yeah.
But I mean, he also shoots with a Hasselblad.
I know. I know.
Bastard.
It's beautiful.
It's like a fucking Ferrari he's picking up.
I know.
It's just a whole nother level of like technology.
Yes, it is. Yeah, for sure.
Like, would you pay $100,000 for just the body?
No.
No. And I know he's sponsored by them, but still.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether he is anymore.
Oh. Did he lose that sponsorship during COVID?
I'm not sure.
Surely he would.
Well, he's shooting with a lot of Fuji now.
Oh, yeah.
Still has his old Hasselblads in the studio.
Yeah, okay.
But he does love the Fuji now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuji's
Or
an
Leica, sorry.
Leica.
Sorry, Pete.
Fuji's an interesting one, though. Oh, no, hang on. No, I think that was Nikon. Nikon bought Red, didn't they? Yeah.
Poor Red.
Ouch. I would have thought good on Nikon. Try to lift the game.
Yeah.
But it just means that they potentially are going to specialize in cinema cameras.
Probably. Yeah. Look, I have a few mates that shoot with Nikons, and I tell you what, they do nice images still. You know, I know they get a bit of a rap in the industry, but they're still bloody good cameras. Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of options for different style of cameras, for different style of photographers, for different style of photos that you want to create, or like videos that you want to create. And it's just navigating through those different options to get the one that you like.
Yeah.
And you may not know what you like until you buy something.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, yeah, like you say, everything's all much of a muchness nowadays. Every camera can do the same. I don't think there's any of the main three that are that far apart from each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Although Canon lenses are still the most expensive.
They are.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Because the glass.
Yeah, it's pretty good, right?
Yeah, the glass is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I donate a kidney to get some glass. Only kidding. It was my liver. Yeah. So, okay. So you're here in Melbourne now.
Yes.
Looking at doing more shoots in Melbourne.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I had to. I came down with no camera gear when I first flew down because I just couldn't get it all on the plane.
That was a mistake.
Yes, it was. It was very frustrating. And but I have it here now, which is good.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Hence my first shoot today.
Yeah.
Lindsay. That went really, really well.
Shout out to Sean. If you want some photos done, make sure you hit him up, and I'm sure he will do a fantastic job.
Thanks very much, mate. Thank you.
The latest import to Melbourne.
Yeah.
So how many shoots are you going to be looking at doing next year, like per week, per month? What's your plan?
Mate, I would like to be able to get maybe three a week.
Oh yeah,
probably.
Yeah,
I'd be able to get in, depending on how much time I spend editing, I suppose. Because working 5 days a week and then slipping in three shoots, it may have to drop back to 2 shoots a week, just on weekends shoots.
How long does it take you to edit one photo?
Again, difficult to say. But if I'm in my studio up in Sydney, probably 5 to 7 minutes.
That's good.
I
That's
spend a lot
great.
of time getting the light right and all that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
I could give it out straight as an image out of the camera. Again, depending on whether it's very contrasty or whether I have more a lighter image. But yeah, and then if I go and shoot outside and in the midday sun or something like that, yeah, it might take a bit longer, maybe 20 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
20, 25 minutes.
Do you do a lot of stuff in Lightroom before you go to Photoshop?
Well, I use Capture One.
Oh, shit.
I use Capture One mainly because Sony just tethers straight in.
Oh, that's right. You've got the dark side.
Yes, unfortunately.
So it just tethers straight in.
Yep, tether straight in.
You bastard.
Yeah, and I love that. I just hook up through Bluetooth now and and just tether everything into there. So I go in and I do a light balance and just a general lighting and color edit if it's needed in Capture One, and then swing over into Photoshop to do the black and white.
So, because you wouldn't have always used Capture One.
No.
Were you using Lightroom before?
Yes, but not tethered.
Yeah, not tethered.
Yeah.
What was the transition like to go from Lightroom to Capture One?
Pretty easy because they have a mode in there.
A Lightroom mode?
No, they have it's like your workspace. You can click on workspace in there, and I forget the actual name of it, but you can have it set up just like Lightroom.
So you just like
so all your
customise
images
all
across the bottom and your all your tabs up here. And let's face it, all the image editing software now, they all call things very much the same. So if you look at this package or this package, you're going to understand what each one does. Just one does it a little bit different than the other. That's all. Yeah. So transitioning over wasn't too difficult at all, really. And it's got a very good filing system as well.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it actually. Capture One, it's good.
I have often thought about switching over from Lightroom to Capture One, but in my experience of transferring over from Final Cut Pro to Premiere Pro, which is the video editing software I use, I don't want to do it.
Oh, it was difficult, was it?
It just took a long time, and I got really frustrated, and I'm like, why am I doing this?
And why did you do that?
Because a mate of mine said your computer will not crash as much, and it doesn't.
Right.
And you have like far more control over things. And I don't use Premiere Pro as to its fullest capability, but like I do what I need to do. And if I don't know how to do something, I just like Google it, right?
Yeah.
Watch a YouTube clip. But then, of course, there's this other software, DaVinci.
Oh, yeah.
Which is used by all the Hollywood editors. And that's even more powerful. And I'm like, did I just not invest like money in LUTs and all this type of stuff for Premiere Pro? And like, why would I now go over to another system and just relearn another system?
Yeah, for what though?
You know? Exactly.
You know, if you went into movie making, maybe.
I ain't going into movie making.
No, that's right. And really, I only swapped from Lightroom to Capture One purely because I wanted to tether my Sony directly in. That was, and it was a big deal. You know, when I could just plug my camera in the side of my laptop and it just works. It's great because if you go through
Windows or Mac?
Mac. And it just works. It's a really good software package for tethering.
I
for
wonder.
Sony.
I wonder why Canons don't do that.
Don't tether?
No, I mean it can tether, but Canon can. I'll have to search this up. I'm sure Canons can tether into Capture
Lightning.
One.
Yeah, Capture One. Yeah, they can.
Yeah,
In fact, they just put out yesterday. They just put out another
firmware upgrade.
Firmware upgrade for Capture One, all for Canon cameras and different correction settings for lenses, Canon lenses, and things like that. So it definitely can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say your style of photography is?
Style. That's a hard thing, isn't it?
Because there's always,
Style.
there's always this thing around when photographers start, you have to like work out your style. Like your shooting style or your editing style, and like what is it?
Yeah.
You know?
And we tend to overthink, what is that?
Yeah.
What style do I want? Well, your style just happens. It's organic. It just grows with you as a photographer,
I love
right?
that.
It just, you can't make it happen. You can't force it. I don't believe, you know.
I think the answer you're looking for is I am the style.
I am the style.
We'll answer all the hard questions on this podcast.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Style.
I only asked that because a couple of years ago, I got some feedback from someone and I was like dumbfounded because I'm like, what do you mean? Because they were commenting on my style. And then they explained and I was like, oh, yeah, I kind of get it now. I'm like, yeah, I shoot girl next door.
Yeah, okay.
That's kind of my style.
Yep.
And my whole approach in trying to capture the essence of the model in between poses to get those candid moments.
Yeah.
You know, which is...
And that's true. That is true in your images.
Yeah. And then, you know, like the voyeuristic through the doorway is still girl next door because, like, I'm in a completely different room.
Yes, that's right.
You know?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a very tough question. I'm not really sure what my style is. I mean, is black and white a style? You know, it's I don't know. I tend to enjoy capturing not just an image of a model, but trying to capture the emotion of the models. You know, which is something that I've, you know, really taken on from, again, Peter, you know, and the way he works with models and gets them the look, the changes in their look by the time he's finished talking with them is just outstanding, you know, amazing. And I really do try to do that in my photo sessions, talk with the models, you know, just get a relationship happening within the shoot and try and capture natural looks. I really enjoy natural looks within an image. So, I guess, I don't know, a style. I hate it when people ask me what style do you shoot.
All right, we'll move on.
Yeah.
It is so important to build a relationship quickly with someone during a photo session. How do you do that if you're new? What advice would you give someone if they came to you and like, hey, I'm going to start doing photography, but how do I do that, Sean? Yeah.
So I guess if you're already going down the route of wanting to be a photographer, I guess you've already got that type of personality where you can talk to people. Well, assumably you do.
I think that's a big assumption.
Yeah. But I think if you can, a bit like what you do with your podcast, you know, you go in there with no set format. Go in there.
No research.
No research.
No questions.
But that's the way. I think that's very important when you're starting off at a photo shoot as well. You need to learn stuff about the person. You ask them questions about who they are, what they do. You know, where do they live? Have they always lived here? you know, because there's a lot of people that come in and out of Australia now that, you know, we're so multicultural, you know, you can just start talking about them and how that relates to yourself and just, you know, make them very, very comfortable. And I think that process for me some differs obviously from person to person, but I think normally the 20 minutes to half an hour of a 2-hour photo shoot is just talking, you know, and you can sort of disguise that with, I'm just doing my lighting setup. You know, we're going to balance the lights and I'll move a light here and move a light there, all the while just talking, making them relax.
I think that's, it's so important because it allows you to, like, not only learn information about them so that you can reuse that at a later stage, but also it builds that trust with them, you know. I know when I started out, I watched a video and they gave me a really practical example. So I went and did that practical example. The practical exercise. And it was to go down to like a major thoroughfare. So I went to Burke Street Mall with my camera and I just asked people to take the photos.
Difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Very confronting, right?
So there's a number of benefits in doing that, and you develop a like a pitch, and you can tweak that pitch based on each individual that you come across. You're working on your confidence. You're potentially going to get rejected, so you're having to deal with your emotions in getting rejected, and then you don't have control over the environment, so you're having to learn about your camera on the fly, you know, which is so important. And so that's a real practical example or exercise that someone can do, and I think dealing with your own emotions or dealing with that rejection of someone saying, no, you don't take my photo, just helps to, I guess, like humble you a little bit, you know, because there may come a time when you're in a photo shoot with a model or a client and they don't want to do something, or they react a particular way to a photo that you've taken and you're showing them and they don't like it, and then you're having to deal with your own emotion. And I think as a photographer, like, our main purpose is to achieve the outcome that we're trying to get to, but as you know, it's not always a straight line.
No, it's not.
You know, it's dependent on a whole range of factors.
It is. It is. And certainly that exercise you described there, I still find that confronting even today.
Yeah, it's totally confronting.
Done many, many photo shoots, but to walk up to people in the street. When they haven't come to you to get photos taken. It's still very confronting.
We should do it.
We should. Let's do it while I'm down here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it with you.
Challenge accepted.
Done.
All right.
We need to find a videographer that shoots in a Canon to take the BTS. No, I'm kidding. They can shoot in Sony or Fuji or whatever.
Or anything. Yes.
Hasselblad. We're looking for a Hasselblad.
Behind the scenes with a Hasselblad.
Yeah. We're going to make a fucking movie.
Oh, we should do that. Definitely. Yeah.
Only because I think one of the great things about photography is that you can get so good at something and then always come back to foundations and basics and reset and reinvigorate this, like, holy shit, like, I forgot about how that feels.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And I kind of get that feeling every time I step outside my studio because I get so comfortable in the studio. I can walk in there, and
Yeah.
before anybody gets there, I switch on all the lights. I set up the type of look that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I can move the lights around, flick out a light meter, set all of them. They walk in the door.
Oh, he
and
uses a light meter.
I know.
That's
only,
old school.
Only when there's no model there.
Oh.
I don't use it when they're there.
Oh.
So it saves time ahead of time. So I can
yeah.
stand there in the middle. Okay, this is their dot.
Smart.
And I just, that one.
I knew there was a reason why you wore glasses.
That's right.
He's smart, everybody. If you need some photos done, contact Sean.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, so I think, but then when I step outside there and I go onto a location shoot,
Do you shit yourself?
it's no, but it's different, right? You've got that.
It's totally different.
You've got that anticipation that there is this niggling voice behind you. Do you really know what you're doing when you don't have strobes?
Wow, you just described the number one thing that always happens in every photographer's head. Do you even know what you're doing?
And it happens every time when I step outside the studio. If I'm going to shoot natural light with no strobes, it's like, right, what are those settings again? Damn Sony menus.
Ah! I told you. Emma, don't get a Sony.
Yeah, Google.
Oh, man. My cheeks hurt from laughing so much. You're so true. Like, I look, I really thrive in not knowing shit.
Yeah.
And, like, just flying on the seat of my pants, and then muscle memory kicks in.
Yeah.
And it's a real, for me, it's a real great feeling knowing that I've got that.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, like, dealing with the stress levels before the shoot when you're traveling somewhere is kind of like, fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Next level. Yeah.
Like when I was touring, like it was all exciting, yada, yada, yada. And then you get to the location or the Airbnb or the hotel room, and it's like, fuck.
Somewhere completely different. And the light's not going to be the same.
It's not going to be the same. And then, because I'd be there for like a couple of days, on the first day, it's like, I think this is right, or I think it's not right. But by the third day, you're like, I know where the sun's coming. I know where these windows are.
That's
like,
right.
This bitch ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
Like I got the settings.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, I do find that daunting still. But it's good after you.
That's interesting. Like a photographer of your caliber is still getting that like daunting feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think that's probably any different than an actor walking out onto a stage on that night. That person's still going to have stage fright, or you're the front man of a band and you're traveling around the world.
So
they're going to have the same gut feeling,
Someone said to me, if you're not getting nervous, you shouldn't be doing it anymore.
True.
Because by you getting nervous or getting anxious or whatever, is you going into fight mode, which is like you're ready for battle.
Yeah.
Like bring it.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. A lot of similarities. We're all creatives, and I think we strive for that feeling sometimes. To put yourself in that zone where you don't know whether it's going to be accepted or not accepted. But you really want to do it anyway. Not everybody does that.
Well, the biological processes that your body goes through are exactly the same when you are excited versus when you're anxious. And so being able to work out which one of those you are, I think is real interesting, because you could be anxious or you could be excited. If you're confident in doing something, you're probably excited, not anxious.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But if you're not confident, then that's probably anxiety.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So
Yeah, makes sense.
how do you gain confidence? Well, you gain confidence by doing it over and over again.
Over and over.
And look, some people are going to hate me for saying this. And there's that whole thing about, fake it till you make it. Well, fake it till you make it, yeah, to a certain extent, because the activity of doing something means that you're actually doing something.
You're learning it. That's how we all learn our craft, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that it's faking it. You're learning it.
Yeah.
But faking it until you make it.
Well, there was another quote, and I'm just trying to remember it again off the fly now. But it was to do with bravery, and it was to do with if you're not brave, you should just try to be, right? But then the second part of the quote was the fact that you're actually trying to be means that you are being brave.
True. Yeah.
Right. So this whole fake it till you make it I think is kind of the same. Like the act of trying means that you are trying to embody yourself. You're trying to present yourself as that thing, by doing that, regardless of the outcome of it.
Yes.
When you're a amateur photographer and you call yourself a photographer, but you're amateur, you're kind of like, am I a photographer? Have I got imposter syndrome? Do I introduce myself as a photographer, but I know I'm amateur? It's kind of like, and then as you keep doing that more and more and more and more, and you gain more and more experience, then you go, yeah, I am a photographer.
I am it.
I went out last night, and instead of saying that I'm a business consultant, I'm like, I'm a photographer.
Yeah.
Because I was with a whole bunch of creatives.
Yep. That's right. And I guess if you take pictures and people enjoy the pictures that you take, then you're a photographer.
Yeah.
And
then someone said to me, "Oh, you look like a yoga teacher."
A yoga teacher?
I'm like, what? How does this look like a yoga teacher?
Did you have your shirt on?
Wow. We had to go there.
Yeah, well,
I did have a shirt on.
Well,
yeah. I did have a shirt on. Shout out to you, Tion. I think, the act of doing something should mean that you, by continually, the frequency or repetition of you doing it means that you should become that thing.
Yeah, exactly right. The more proficient you become, the more, I'm not necessarily the more at ease you are either, I don't think.
Yeah.
But you're able to accept that the anxiety and everything of going to a shoot or going to shoot a reception or a wedding or something like that, which I don't do, by the way.
Thank God. We'll get to why you don't do that.
Yeah. But everybody would still feel that no matter how proficient you are, I believe there would still be that undertow that would, geez, is it all going to be right? What's the lighting going to be right? What does the venue look like? Is the color just going to give me this horrible color cast through every image? And what am I going to do to balance that?
Have I done my checklist?
Yeah.
Have I used my light meter?
How am I going to get that videographer out of the way so I can get my shots?
Fuck off. So why don't you shoot weddings?
Time. I'm very time poor. But also, I think that would fill me so full of anxiety that I just
not excitement.
No, I would
so
be.
We clarified those two emotions. Then
yes,
it's definitely
right.
anxiety.
It would definitely be anxiety, and the stress factor on me, I don't think is worth. Don't think it's worth it to chase that.
That's the reason I don't do weddings, is the stress factor.
Can you imagine you go there and you're the shooter, and there isn't a 2 or 3.
The shooter.
Yeah. and there's no other people around taking photographs, and yours are all shit.
Surely there'd be like
Oh, there'd be a couple, right?
guests.
You know?
That's why you have a second shooter, I think.
Yeah, I know. But it just, no, not for me. No. I've done a couple of functions in Sydney, and even then, you know, there were birthday parties and stuff like that. So everyone was just having a good time. And you're really just there as a paparazzi shooter, right? But even then, it's just, is it worth it for me? No, I don't enjoy it. And
you don't enjoy being a paparazzi?
No. No. I really enjoy studio portraiture. That's what I love. It releases me from all the pressures of, you know, project management through the week. This is my release. I go in there and I disappear into that world of light and shadows and beauty and all of that sort of stuff. And I just love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And
that's your style. You just described your style.
Really?
The light and darkness, the light and shadow and beauty. Yeah.
I love it.
In a studio.
Well, there you go. There's my style. Just organically came out.
Yeah.
And I think if we can very easily, as photographers or any creative, I suppose, you get caught up in the grind of it all because of the money side of it, and we forget to give ourselves time for that creative release, which is what we started the whole process for. You know, the whole journey was about us falling in love with what we do and producing something that's beautiful to us and to others, hopefully. And I think if you get too tied up in the other side of it and don't give you time to release, it's, you know, you just get lost in it, I think.
I think the flip side is that there are some people out there that want to, like, really focus in on the business side of photography.
For sure.
And, like, there's so many aspects that you can focus in on. That's just one of them.
Yeah.
But I also, like, I agree with you. I think as a creative, if you are too focused on the outcome, then you'll lose sight of why you got into it.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I love the process. I'm in love with the process and fine tuning the process, and like, only because I know that the photos will just like come out good anyway. Yeah. You know, and like fine tune the way that I communicate with people, or like talk to them about the type of style of images that I want to create through sending the right level of inspo and like all this type of stuff, you know. So many different things that you can tweak to finesse and then be able to come to a point, you know, in the project.
Yep.
You know, the critical path.
the
critical path.
Wow.
And then be able to deliver it in a timely, you know, deliverable.
So it's not unlike project management when you
it's exactly like
phrase it like
project
that.
management, mate. There's like pre-planning.
Yes.
There's like communications. There's risk management. There's legal and finance and
everything in there. Yes.
What advice would you give someone who wanted to take up photography? No, sorry. No. Rewind. Cut that out. What advice would you give your younger self?
My younger self.
20-year-old Sean.
Slow down.
Fuck.
Slow down and enjoy the process. You know, especially, you know.
Do you think he went too fast?
I think so.
Why? Because he
don't know.
lives in Sydney.
Yeah, probably. Probably. I think digital's done that.
Oh.
Which is why I still pull out my old Olympus camera now and then and whack some film in it and go and walk around the streets, and it's all manual. And
that's testing your skills.
Yeah.
Your muscle memory.
And it's not easy, but you go out and you spend a day. Yeah, you spend a day walking around and you might only take 10 shots.
those lagging measures, they're like so far behind.
I know.
You have to
Yeah.
remember the camera settings. You write the camera settings down?
No,
Oh.
no.
When you get your photos developed that don't have the camera settings on it, so how do you know?
Oh, no, I write them down like that. Yeah,
Oh,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's that's another side of things. But I think we just need to slow down when we're shooting, and it's too easy to just spray 500,000 images in a 2-hour photo shoot, and you just think
500,000 is a lot.
not 500,000,
In one photo shoot. That's like 500,000.
521,000.
Oh, 521,000. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but and then every image looks the same.
Yeah.
You get 20 images and they're all pretty much identical. Just slow down. Slow down. Let the model get comfortable. Work through different poses, different expressions. Yeah, that's what I would tell my 20.
I think it
self.
is interesting because this is all like relevant advice for anybody, really. Like, I spoke before about being able to come back to fundamentals, like doing that Burke Street Mall exercise, right?
Yeah.
Which we will do. But like, yeah, you can always go back to fundamentals. You can always slow down. You can always, ask the model or the client to like work on different expressions or work on the elements that make them who they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do like to, and I don't always post these images, actually. They're more for the model than anything. At the end of a photo session, I'll ask the model, right, I'm going to zoom into your face and we're going to take a series of images and I want you to pull as many funny faces as you possibly can.
Oh, that's so much fun.
And the looks and expressions and the joy that they get after putting on the model's face to doing that, it's amazing. It really is amazing.
Have you ever thought about doing that first rather than last?
I haven't. Another challenge accepted.
How would that change your photo shoot if you did that first?
Don't know. I'm not sure that they'd be warmed up enough at the beginning. Because they're still quite, by the end of a 2 hours, they're still a little apprehensive. I mean, I could probably do it with some of the models that I've shot 10 times with.
Yeah.
That would probably work. I'm not sure. I'll try it on my next shoot.
Awesome.
Yes. Awesome.
Is there anything you want to ask me?
Not sure. So I see more and more of your images coming back from before.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm back.
Which I'm excited for.
I'm back in
Yes.
full force.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that because I used to watch your imagery with a passion. Honestly.
Fuck.
Your images are amazing, mate.
Thank you.
And when you stopped, it was just like, geez, when are you gonna kick back into it? So
Yeah.
I'm really happy to see them starting to flow back out now.
Yeah, look, a little hiatus, but
Yep.
we all do that.
Yeah, we needed a bit of a break. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's good.
But I've got like some pretty exciting things happening.
Mhm.
If not by the end of this year, yeah, definitely for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like it's all good.
It's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to. I really like your outdoor shoots as well. Your beach shoots and things like that, mate. Love it.
I was doing something the other day, and it's quite funny because once you train your eye, you can never untrain it. And the shoot was going amazing, and we were in like the last setting, and the model was like wet, and the wind is going. I automatically know, like as soon as you get.
Is that the one that you posted the other day?
Yeah,
The little reel.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
cool, yeah.
yeah. I did that with
Windy.
a Insta360.
Yeah. Okay.
Camera.
Yep.
But yeah, it was windy, and like I knew that like I'm on a time limit now because she's wet and
Getting cold.
Yeah, so I was like taking the shot from like one angle, and then I made sure that I like looked through her and looked behind her, and I could see like a framing opportunity.
Right.
And I was like, I'm in the wrong spot. I need to go over there because the light is here.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
have the instead of having the light behind her, I need it in front of her so I can see more. And so I was like running past her with my camera going, just stay there, just stay there. And she's like, I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like I literally like drop in the water to take these shots.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just like, fuck. Like this is why I do this.
Absolutely. It's so much fun, isn't it?
Yeah. And just being able to like read the environment to look at or like have this like predetermined like image of what I'm trying to create. It's just like so rewarding.
Yeah, it is. And then if it's not quite right, you know exactly what you need to do
Yeah, the next time.
to make that right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know when my wife and I go out for dinner or something like that, we'll be walking up in the street and I go, oh, look at that. Look at that light.
Is she in photography as well?
Not at all.
So you're walking up and down the street and you're going, look at that light. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Sean?
Yeah, God bless my wife, Olga. She just puts up with so much of that, like I just see the world differently, as we all do as creatives, right? And you walk down, you just think, whoa, that beam of light coming through there. If I just stood my wife in that shot, and I do from time to time, I'll be walking up the street, I just stand there in the middle of the street because there's a beam of light coming out between that building, and I have to, not just to capture her, but I have to capture that beam of light to see what it looks like in the camera, My poor wife, she gets that all the time. Darling, would you like to come down into the studio? I just want to try these. Won't take very long. 10 minutes.
I mean, look, she's
2 hours later.
wow.
Once I start, it's just like, oh, I'll just move this a little bit and move that over there and do
You ask her for 10 minutes and you take 2 hours.
Yeah.
Bro, she is patient.
Nah, she's beautiful, mate. She's a champion.
Yeah.
Love her. Very supportive.
It's so, that's so important. Yeah, I got the TV on.
Is that on now?
Yeah, that's live.
Oh, my God.
I know, that's why I put it on.
Oh.
So, the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. But, like,
wow.
They were live at, like, 12. And obviously the pre-fights beforehand.
Okay.
But I think it only...
Sorry, everyone. I just got a little distracted there.
It's only going for another 40 minutes, 50 minutes. So
they're only expecting to go a couple of rounds then.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to win?
I think Tyson. Yeah. It'll depend on how much stamina Tyson's got still left in him at his age,
Yeah.
If he lets go one of those hammers that he's got, and gets it on the chin, which I suppose you can say that about any boxer, but
yeah, that woman looks like Kamala Harris.
She really does.
She does, doesn't she? And like, who are these people?
No idea.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, sorry,
listening
everybody.
in.
You were just a little distracted there.
So you've spoken, or you've used the title creative a couple of times. How important is it to understand this piece of being a creative and understanding your craft? Because you're a project manager doing creative stuff.
Yes.
Explain that.
Well, I guess I'm being in construction. I like to build things. I like to make things look good. So I guess from that aspect of things, everybody that makes something with their hands is a bit of a creative in themselves. You know, you want to make it look good and all that sort of stuff. So, but from the creative aspect, I suppose I used to draw a bit when I was younger. So there was always something in there. Played guitar, you know, all of those sorts of things that we do as we grow up. All creative type things. And really, it just developed. It wasn't something that I really chased as a, you know, and I don't even know when, you know, a photographer became a creative. I'm not sure when those sorts of terms even came in, you know. There's sort of a cliche now, I suppose, you know.
It's like someone came up with the term and then it somehow infiltrated culture.
Yeah.
It's like that term toxic masculinity. Did you actually hear about? So apparently toxic masculinity was a term that was used in a study on male prisoners, right? And it was never used outside of that study. And then someone used it outside of the study and then it somehow came into culture. And the whole point of this person explaining it is that you can't actually have toxic masculinity. You have toxicity, and that toxicity could be feminine toxicity or male toxicity, right?
Yep.
It's not toxic masculinity because you have masculinity and you have femininity, and then you have toxicity. I don't know if anybody's going to argue that point, but
I'm sure they will.
Yeah. You know, so I think that there's sometimes terms that are created or generated and then they just kind of stick.
Yeah.
Are we creatives? Are we artists? Or are we photographers? Or are we videographers? Like,
it's hard to say, isn't it? You know, like
yeah,
subjective, I suppose. You know,
and then are we categorized or defined by the category that's given on our Instagram profile?
No,
I don't know.
I don't think we are.
No,
we shouldn't be anyway.
Have you always been into like creative things or like arty stuff? Because being a project manager is like very
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I do know being a good project manager means you have to be a really good people person. It's not just about pushing dates.
It is. And I guess you can use some of that to your advantage when you're meeting models for the first time, for instance. You know,
yeah.
It gives you're able to use your, I guess your personality and the skills that you used in negotiations at work. You can utilize similar things when you're meeting people for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, talking about a shoot, the technical aspects of it, or the artistic side of things.
Yeah.
You can get what you want to say across quite well, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think I've always been a creative. I think I fell in love with photography before I realised anything about being a creative or an artistic side. And I guess that's the way every great artist or great photographer would have grown into that themselves organically and not really, right, I'm going to be a creative. And it starts today and I'm going to paint pictures for the rest of my life.
Well, isn't that an artist? Because you're creating art. It's all semantics.
Semantics more than, yeah, I think so.
I almost think this term creative came about as a result of another term, content creator.
Probably, yeah.
The fuck? So you make videos? Bro, you're an actor.
That's true.
It's true, yeah.
And I think all of these things have definitely only appeared since the internet.
I couldn't see myself being a content creator.
No.
I mean, yeah, nah.
And yet here we are.
I know, and I'm running a podcast.
Yeah.
This is episode 79.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so hard to believe.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
It's going very, very well.
I'm trying to hit 100 before the 15th of December.
Right.
Because the 15th of December is when I did episode 1.
Yeah, right. Okay. That'd be awesome.
I don't think I'm going to make it.
You'd have to do, I don't think so.
Yeah. 23 in like 4
Yeah.
weeks.
Good luck.
I mean, I am up for a challenge, but that seems like a lot.
So hit him up, everyone.
Bro!
Hit him up.
Promoting me on my own podcast. I love it. Well, Sean, thanks so much for coming along.
Hey,
It's
you're very welcome. Mate.
Great to see you. We met in Sydney a couple of years ago.
Over a burger and a beer.
A burger and a beer. And we've just maintained contact.
Yep.
I love the fact that you're down here now. We'll definitely go do that Burke Street Mall
that'd be good.
exercise. And I can't wait to see lots more shoots out of you. And yeah.
Fantastic, mate. Thanks very much.
Amazing.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks everyone for listening in. Make sure you hit subscribe and that notification bell, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.